The Fisherman and His Soul. The young fisherman went out in his boat every evening and threw his nets into the water. Sometimes he did not catch much, but sometimes the fish came in from the deep sea and swam into his nets. Then he took them and sold them in the town. One evening, the net was very heavy. The young fisherman laughed. "Perhaps I have caught all the fish in the sea," he thought. He pulled, and the net came nearer and nearer to the boat. At last it came to the top of the water. There were no fish in it, only a sleeping mermaid. Her hair was like gold. Her body was silver and pearl. She was very beautiful. The young fisherman picked her up in his arms. When he touched her, she opened her deep blue eyes with fear. She tried to escape, but he held her tightly. She began to cry. "Please, please don't take me away," she said. "I am the daughter of the king of the sea. He only has me, and he is old and alone." The fisherman answered, "You can go if you make a promise. When I call you, you must come to me. You must come to me and sing. The fish love the song of the people of the sea. They will come, and my nets will be full." So the mermaid promised. The fisherman opened his arms, and she disappeared into the water. Every evening after that, when the young fisherman went out in his boat, he called to the mermaid. She came up out of the water and sang the songs of the people of the sea. She sang about the king's palace, with its roof of clear blue jewels and its pearl floor. She sang about the gardens of the sea. The big fish came in from the deep sea to listen to her songs. Then the young fisherman threw his nets round them and caught them. When his boat was full, the mermaid disappeared into the sea. The mermaid never came close to him. Once he tried to touch her, but she went down into the water. He did not see her again that day. Each day the sound of her voice became sweeter in his ears. He forgot about his nets and his boat. The fish came, but he did not see them. He sat in his boat and listened. Darkness closed round him, and the moonlight changed his brown arms to silver. One evening the young fisherman called to the mermaid. "Little mermaid, I love you. Take me as your husband." But the mermaid answered, "No, you have a man's soul. Send away your soul, and I will love you." The young fisherman said, "I do not need my soul. I cannot see it. I cannot touch it. Of course I will send it away." He held out his arms. "I will send my soul away, and you will be my wife. We will live in the deepest part of the sea, and you will show me the wonderful things in your songs." The little mermaid laughed with happiness and hid her face in her hands. "But how can I send my soul away?" cried the fisherman. "Tell me how to do it." "I do not know," said the little mermaid. "The people of the sea have no souls." She looked at him sadly and swam away. Early the next morning, the young fisherman went to a priest's house. "Father," he said, "I am in love with one of the people of the sea, but I cannot marry her because I have a soul. Tell me how to send my soul away. I do not need it. I cannot see it. I cannot touch it." The priest answered, "Stupid man, your soul was given to you by God. It is the most important thing that you have. It is like the golden jewels of kings. The people of the sea have no souls, and like animals do not know right from wrong." "Father," said the young fisherman, "I caught the daughter of the king of the sea in my net. She is more beautiful than the morning star. and whiter than the moon. I will give my soul for her body. I must send my soul away." "Go away, go away," cried the priest. The young fisherman went into the city. The market sellers called to him. "What are you selling today?" "I will sell my soul. I do not need it." "We do not want to buy your soul. What can we do with it? Sell us your body and become a slave, but do not talk about your soul." The young fisherman thought, "This is very strange. The priest tells me that a soul costs more than gold and jewels. I do not understand." He went down by the sea to think. At last he remembered that there was a witch near the beach. He ran along the sand to the place where she lived. She knew by magic that he was coming. She laughed and waited for him. "What do you want?" she cried as he ran towards her. "I can give you anything, but everything has its price." "I only want one small thing," said the young fisherman. "But the priest was angry when I asked him for it, and the market sellers laughed at me, so I have come to you." "What do you want?" asked the witch, coming nearer. "I want to send my soul away from me," answered the young fisherman. "What will you give me if I help you?" asked the witch, looking at him with her beautiful eyes. "5 pieces of gold, and my net, my house, and my boat. But tell me how I can lose my soul." She laughed. "I am a witch. I can have all the gold and silver that I want." "So what shall I give you? What shall I do?" She put her thin white hand on his head and smiled at him. "You must dance with me, pretty boy," she said. "Only that? Nothing more?" cried the young fisherman. "Only that," she answered, and she smiled at him again. "We must dance when the moon is full. Tonight you will come to the top of the mountain. It is the witch's meeting place, and he will be there." "Who is he?" asked the young fisherman. "Come tonight, stand near the tree on the top of the mountain, and wait for me. When the moon is full, I will be with you. Then we will dance together on the grass." "But you will help me to send my soul away?" The sunlight shone on her red hair. "I will," she answered. "You are the best of witches," cried the young fisherman, "and I will dance with you tonight." He smiled at her. Then he ran happily back to the town. The witch watched him as he went. "He will be mine," she said. "I am as beautiful as she is." That evening the young fisherman climbed to the top of the mountain and stood under the tree in the moonlight. The sea lay far down below, and the shadows of the fishing boats moved on the water. At midnight the witches came flying through the air. "Phew!" they said as they came down to the ground. "What is this smell? There is a stranger here." The young witch came last. She wore a gold dress, and her long red hair flew out behind her. "Where is he? Where is he?" cried the witches when they saw her. She laughed and ran to the tree and took the fisherman's hand. She pulled him out into the moonlight and began to dance with him. The other witches began to dance too, round and round. Then there was the sound of a horse, but he could not see a horse. He felt afraid. "Faster, faster!" cried the witch. She put her arms round his neck. He knew that something terrible was watching him. Then he saw someone under the shadow of a rock. It was a man dressed in black. His face was white, but his mouth was like a red flower. His hands were white and heavy with rings. He watched the young fisherman as he danced. Suddenly the dancers stopped, and went to kiss the man's hands. He smiled proudly, but he was still looking at the fisherman. "Now we must go to him," said the witch, and the fisherman followed her. But when he was close to the man, the young fisherman suddenly called out God's name. He did not know why he called it. The witches cried out and flew away. The man closed his eyes in pain. He called to his horse, jumped up onto its back, then turned and looked sadly at the fisherman. The witch with the red hair tried to fly away too, but the fisherman caught her arm and held her. "Take your hand off me!" she cried. "No," he answered. "First you must tell me the secret." "What secret?" said the witch, fighting like a wild cat. "You know," he answered. There were tears in her green eyes. "I am as beautiful as the daughter of the sea," she said. He pushed her away. "If you do not keep your promise, I will kill you." Her face was grey. "All right," she said. "It is your soul, not mine." She took out a little knife in a green case. "The shadow of the body is the body of the soul. Stand by the sea with your back to the moon. Cut your shadow away from your feet and order your soul to leave you." He took the knife. Then he began to climb down the mountain. His soul inside him called out, "I have lived with you for many years, and I have been your servant. Do not send me away from you. How have I hurt you?" The young fisherman laughed. "You have not hurt me, but I do not need you. My love is calling me." He stood on the sand with his back to the moon. His shadow lay in front of him. His soul said, "If I must go away, do not send me away without a heart. There is no love or kindness in the world, and I am afraid I need to take your heart with me." "My heart belongs to my love," he answered. "So do not wait. Go. I do not need you." The young fisherman took the little knife out of its case and cut away the shadow from round his feet. It stood up in front of him. It was just like him. He stepped back and put away the knife. He was afraid. "Go," he said. "I never want to see you again." "No, we must meet again," said the soul. "How will we meet?" cried the young fisherman. "Will you follow me into the deepest part of the sea?" "Once every year I will come to this place and call to you," said the soul. "Perhaps you will need me." "Why will I need you?" cried the young fisherman. "But do what you like." Then he jumped into the sea. The little mermaid came up to meet him. She put her arms round his neck and kissed him. Then they went down into the sea. The soul went away crying. After a year, the soul came down to the sea and called to the young fisherman. He came out of the sea and said, "Why are you calling me?" The soul answered, "Come nearer. I want to tell you about the wonderful things that I have seen." So the fisherman came nearer and listened. "When I left you," the soul said to him, "I travelled to the east. All wise things come from the east. I arrived at a city, walked through its streets, and came to the garden of its god. 'I want to see your god,' I said to one of the priests, and he took me to a house in the garden. There was no god there, only a metal mirror on a stone table. I said to the priest, 'Where is the god?' He said, 'There is no god, but this is a special mirror. It shows everything on earth. When you have this mirror, you know everything. Nothing is hidden from you.' I stole the mirror, and I have hidden it close to here. Take me as your soul again, and you will be wiser than all the wise men." The young fisherman laughed. "Love is better than understanding," he cried, "and the little mermaid loves me." He went back into the sea. The soul went away crying. After the second year, the soul came down to the sea and called to the young fisherman. The fisherman came up out of the sea and said, "Why are you calling me?" "Come nearer," the soul answered. "I want to tell you about the wonderful things that I have seen. When I left you, I travelled to the south. All gold and jewels come from the south. After many days, I came to Ashtar. The king of that city has a special ring on his finger. If you have that ring, you are richer than all the kings in the world. I went into the king's palace. The soldiers hit me, but they could not hurt me. The king said, 'Who are you? Why can't we hurt you? Please leave here tonight. While you are here, I am not king of this city.' I answered, 'I will go if you give me your ring.' Then the soul said to the fisherman, 'I have hidden the ring in a place not far from here. Come with me and take it. You will be richer than all the kings in this world.' The young fisherman laughed. 'Love is better than gold and jewels,' he cried, 'and the little mermaid loves me.' He went back into the sea. The soul went away crying. At the end of the third year, the soul came down to the sea and called to the fisherman. When he came, the soul said, "Come nearer. I want to tell you about the wonderful things that I have seen. On my journeys, I came to a city where there is a house near the river. Seamen come to that house and drink wine. As I sat there, an old man came in. He played music, and a girl came and danced. Her face was covered and I could not see it, but her white feet moved like little birds. They were the most beautiful feet that I have ever seen. It was the most wonderful dancing. It is only a few days' journey from this place." The young fisherman remembered that the little mermaid had no feet. She could not dance. So he said, "All right, it is only a short journey, and then I can return to my love." He climbed out onto the land and held out his arms to his soul. The soul cried with happiness and went into him. They travelled all that night and came to a city. As they walked along a street of jewellers, the young fisherman saw a fine silver cup. The soul said to him, "Take that cup and hide it." So he took the cup, and they left the city quickly. But then the young fisherman threw the cup away. "Why did you tell me to take that cup?" he said to his soul. "It was wrong." But his soul answered, "It does not matter." On the evening of the second day, they came to another city. As they walked along the street, the young fisherman saw a child with a pot of water. His soul said to him, "Hit that child." So he hit the child, and the child cried. Then they left the city quickly. But then the young fisherman became angry. "Why did you tell me to hit that child? It was wrong." But his soul answered, "It does not matter." Late on the evening of the third day, they came to another city. The young fisherman sat down and rested. After some time, a man came past them. "Why are you sitting here in the street?" he said. The young fisherman answered, "I have nowhere to sleep. I have no friends in this city." The man said, "Aren't we all brothers? Didn't one God make us all? Come with me to my house." So the young fisherman slept at the man's house. In the middle of the night, his soul woke him and said, "Go to the man's room, kill him and take his gold. We need it." The young fisherman went to the man's room. There was a knife near his bed, and there were 3 bags of gold. The young fisherman put out his hand and touched the knife, but the man woke up. "Are you paying for my kindness with blood?" he said. The soul said, "Kill him." So the young fisherman killed the man and took the bags of gold. When they were away from the city, the young fisherman said, "Why did you tell me to kill the man? Why did you tell me to take his gold?" The soul answered, "It does not matter." "No," cried the young fisherman, "it does matter. Why have you done this to me?" His soul answered, "When you sent me out into the world, you did not give me a heart." The young fisherman said, "You are bad. I forget my love when I am with you." He threw the bags of gold away. "I sent you away before, and I will send you away again." He turned his back to the moon. Then, with a little knife, he tried to cut away the shadow of the body, which is the soul. But the soul said, "A man can only send his soul away once in his life. You must keep me with you forever." The young fisherman said, "I will go back to the place where the mermaid sang. I will call her. I will tell her about the bad things that I have done." His soul said, "There are many women who are more beautiful. There are the dancing girls of Samaris. They laugh while they dance. Come with me to that city." The young fisherman did not answer. He travelled back to the place where his love sang. He called to the little mermaid, but she did not come. He built a hut in the rocks, and he called to the mermaid every morning and every night, but she never came up out of the sea to meet him. A year passed, and the soul thought, "I have offered him bad things, but his love has been too great. Now I will offer him good things, and perhaps he will come with me." So the soul said, "I have told you about the happiness of the world. Now I will tell you about the world's pain. I will tell you about people who are hungry, poor, and sick. Let's go and help those people." But the young fisherman did not answer. A 2nd year passed, and the soul said, "Your love is stronger than I am. Let me into your heart, and then I can be part of you again." "Of course you can come in," said the young fisherman. "I cannot find a way into your heart," said his soul. "There is no room, because your heart is so full of love." "I would like to help you," said the fisherman. As he spoke, a great sound of crying came from the sea. One of the people of the sea was dead. The young fisherman left his hut and ran down to the water. Black waves hurried into the land, and they brought with them the body of the little mermaid. The fisherman threw himself down next to her and held her in his arms. He kissed the cold red mouth. More waves came. The sound of crying came from the palace of the Sea King. "The sea is coming," said his soul. "If you stay here, it will kill you. Come away." But the young fisherman did not listen. "Love is better than being wise or rich," he said to the little mermaid. "Love is beautiful. I was bad and I left you. Then I called you and you did not come. But my love stayed with me and was always strong. Now you are dead and I will die with you." The sea came nearer and tried to cover him with its waves. The fisherman knew that the end was near. He kissed the cold face of the mermaid, and then his heart broke. His soul found a way into it and became part of him again. And the sea covered the young fisherman. The Nightingale and the Rose. "She said, 'I will dance with you if you bring me a red rose,'" cried the young student. "But there are no red roses in my garden. I have studied everything that wise men have written, but my life is unhappy because I have no red rose." His eyes filled with tears. A little nightingale heard him from her old tree. "Here at last is a true lover," said the nightingale. "I have sung about true love night after night, but I have never seen a true lover." "There will be a dance at the palace tomorrow," said the student. "The prince will be there, and my love will be there too. If I bring her a red rose, she will dance with me. If I bring her a red rose, I will hold her in my arms. But there are no red roses in my garden, so I will sit alone. She will not need me, and my heart will break." "Yes, he is a true lover, like the lovers in my songs," said the nightingale. "Love is happiness to me, but it is pain to him. Love is a wonderful thing. Gold and jewels can never buy it." The student cried, "The musicians will play and my love will dance to the music. Rich men in their fine clothes will crowd round her, but she will not dance with me because I cannot give her a red rose." He lay down on the grass, put his face in his hands and cried. "Why is he crying?" asked the little animals in the garden. "Why is he crying?" asked the flowers. "He is crying for a red rose," said the nightingale. "For a red rose?" they cried, and they laughed. But the nightingale understood. She opened her brown wings and flew up into the air. She passed across the garden like a shadow. There was a beautiful rose tree standing in the centre of another garden. When she saw it, she flew down to it. "Give me a red rose," she cried, "and I will sing you my sweetest song." "I am sorry," said the rose tree. "My roses are white as snow. Go to my brother on the other side of the garden. Perhaps he will give you what you want." So the nightingale flew to the other rose tree. "Give me a red rose," she cried, "and I will sing you my sweetest song." "I am sorry," answered the rose tree. "My roses are yellow, golden yellow. But go to my brother who grows below the student's window. Perhaps he will give you what you want." So the nightingale flew to the rose tree which was growing below the student's window. "Give me a red rose," she cried, "and I will sing you my sweetest song." "My roses are red," it answered, "but the winter cold has frozen my flowers, and they have fallen. I will have no roses this year." "I only want one red rose," cried the nightingale. "Only one red rose. How can I get it?" "There is a way," answered the tree, "but I do not want to tell you about it." "Tell me the way, please," said the nightingale. "I am not afraid." "If you want a red rose," said the tree, "you must build it out of music by moonlight. The redness must come from your heart's blood. You must sing to me all night with your heart pressed against a thorn. The thorn must cut open your heart, and your lifeblood must run into me and become mine." "Death is a great price to pay for a red rose," cried the nightingale. "I enjoy life. I love sitting in the green trees and watching the golden sun go down. I love smelling the flowers. But love is better than life, and the heart of a man is more important than the heart of a bird." So she opened her brown wings and flew up into the air. She passed over the garden where the young student was still lying in the grass. The tears were not yet dry in his eyes. "Be happy," cried the nightingale. "You will have your red rose. I will build it out of music by moonlight, and I will give my heart's blood for its redness. But you must be a true lover, because love is the wisest and strongest thing." The student looked up from the grass and listened, but he could not understand what the nightingale was saying. He only knew things that are written in books. But the old tree loved the little nightingale, and he understood. "Sing me one last song," he said, I shall be sad and alone when you go." So the nightingale sang to the old tree. Her voice was like drops of water falling from a silver cup. When she finished her song, the student took out a notebook. "Her voice is beautiful, but her song does not mean anything. It is not really useful because she has no true feelings. She thinks only of her music, not about other people." He went into his room, lay down on his bed, and thought about his love. After a time, he fell asleep. When the moon shone in the sky, the nightingale flew to the rose tree. She pressed herself against a thorn. She sang all night, and the cold moon listened. All through the long night she sang, and the thorn went deeper and deeper, and the lifeblood ran out of her. First she sang about the birth of love in the heart of a boy and a girl. And a wonderful rose grew on the highest part of the rose tree. As song followed song, the rose opened. At first it was white as a cloud on a river, as silver as the wings of the early morning. The rose tree cried to the nightingale, "Press closer against the thorn, little nightingale. The rose must be red before daylight." So the nightingale pressed closer, and her song became louder. Now she sang about the birth of love in the hearts of a man and a woman. The rose became red. But the heart of the rose stayed white, because only the heart's blood of a nightingale can colour the heart of a rose. The rose tree cried to the nightingale, "Press closer against the thorn, little nightingale, or the day will come before the rose is red." So the nightingale pressed closer against the thorn. The thorn touched her heart, and pain shot through her. As the pain became worse, her song became wilder. Now she sang of the love which is made perfect by death. The rose became deep red. The heart of the rose was as red as a jewel. But the nightingale's voice became weaker and weaker. Her little wings stopped moving. Her eyes lost their brightness. She sang a last wonderful song. The moon heard it and waited in the sky. The red rose heard it and opened wide to the cold morning air. "Look, look!" cried the rose tree. "The rose is ready now." But the nightingale did not answer, because she was lying dead in the long grass with the thorn in her heart. At midday the student opened his window and looked out. "Ah!" he cried. "Here is a red rose. It is exactly what I wanted. I have never seen a rose as beautiful as this. It probably has a long Latin name." He put out his hand and took it. Then he put on his hat and ran to the doctor's house with the rose in his hand. The doctor was the student's teacher, and the student loved the doctor's daughter. She was sitting at the door, and her little dog was lying at her feet. "You wanted me to bring you a red rose," cried the student. "Here is the reddest rose in the world. You can wear it tonight next to your heart. Then we can dance together, and you will know how I love you." "I'm sorry," said the girl. "It will not go with the colour of my dress. And the officer has sent me some real jewels. Everyone knows that jewels cost more than flowers." "Thank you very much," said the student angrily. "You are very kind." He threw the rose into the street. "You cannot speak to me like that," said the girl. "Who are you? Only a student?" She got up from her chair and went into the house. "Love is a very silly thing," said the student as he walked away. "It tells us things which are not going to happen. We believe things which are not true. It is useless. In these difficult times, we must learn useful things. I shall go back to my studies." So he returned to his room, took out a big old book, and began to read. The Starchild. 2 woodcutters were going home through the forest. It was winter and very cold. There was thick snow on the ground and on the trees. The river was frozen. The snow was very deep, and the woodcutters went slowly. They were careful, because it is easy to lose your way in the snow. At last they saw the lights of their village far down below them. They laughed because they were glad, but then they were sad. Why do we want to live? Life is so hard for poor people like us. Then a strange thing happened. A very bright and beautiful star fell out of the sky. It seemed to fall behind some trees quite near them. They ran towards it. Perhaps there will be a pot of gold where it fell, they thought. The first woodcutter reached the place. He saw a coat of gold lying on the white snow. It had silver stars on it. The woodcutters opened the coat to take the pieces of gold from it. But there was no gold. There was only a little child. One of the men said, "This is a sad ending to our hopes. We do not need a child. We are poor men, and we already have children. We cannot give their food to another child. Let's leave it here." The other man said, "We cannot leave the child here. It will die in the cold. I am as poor as you are. I have many mouths to feed and not much food for them. But I will take the child home with me. My wife will look after it." So he picked up the child. He put the coat round it to keep out the cold. Then he went down the hill to his village. When they came to the village, his friend said, "You have the child. Give me the coat." But the other man answered, "That coat isn't ours. It belongs to the child." Then he went to his house. His wife opened the door and kissed him. He said, "I have found something in the forest, and I have brought it to you. I know that you will look after it." "What is it?" she asked. "We need many things." He opened the coat and showed her the sleeping child. "Oh," she said, "we have enough children. Why have you brought this strange child to live here?" "It is a starchild," he said, and he told her about it. "Our children haven't enough bread. Must we feed another person's child?" A cold wind from the forest came through the open door. "Shut the door," she said. "The wind is cold." He said, "A cold wind always comes into a house where the heart is cold." She did not answer, but went nearer to the fire. Soon she turned round and looked at him, and her eyes were full of tears. He put the child in her arms. She kissed it and put it in a little bed with her youngest child. The next day the woodcutter took the golden coat and put it away in a big box. The Starchild grew up with the woodcutter's children. He sat at the table for meals with them and played with them. Every year he became more and more beautiful. But the Starchild was only beautiful on the outside. He was proud and unkind. He thought that he was better than the village children. "They are ordinary people," he thought. "But I am the child of a star. They are my servants." He threw stones at the poor and at people who asked for help. "Go to another place and ask for bread. We have none to give you." He laughed at people who were weak and ugly. He loved himself. In summer he sat by the water and smiled down at his beautiful face. The woodcutter and his wife often spoke to him angrily. "We looked after you when you needed our help. Why are you so unkind to people who need your help?" The Starchild did not listen to them. He went back to the other children. He could run fast and dance and make music. The other children followed the starchild. When he pushed a stick into the eyes of a little rabbit, they laughed. When he threw stones at a sick man, they laughed. Their hearts became as hard as his. One day, a poor woman came through the village. She looked like a beggar. Her clothes were old and dirty, and there was blood on her feet. She sat down under a tree to rest. The starchild saw her and said, "Look at that ugly old beggar woman. Let's send her away." So he came near and threw stones at her. She looked at him with fear in her eyes. The woodcutter saw what the starchild was doing. He ran to him and said, "Why is your heart so cold? What has this poor woman done to you?" The starchild was angry. "You cannot question me. I am not your son." "That is true," said the woodcutter. "But I helped you. I was sorry for you when I found you in the forest." When the old woman heard this, she made a loud noise. Then she fell to the ground. The woodcutter carried her into the house to his wife. They brought food to her, but she did not eat or drink. She asked, "Did you say that the child was found in the forest? Was that 10 years ago? 10 years ago today?" "Yes," said the woodcutter. "I found him in the forest exactly 10 years ago." "Did he have a coat of gold with silver stars on it?" "Yes," said the woodcutter. He took the coat out of the box and showed it to her. "He is my little son. I lost him in the forest. I have travelled the world trying to find him." The woodcutter went out and called to the starchild, "Come into the house. Your mother is waiting there for you." The starchild ran into the house, but when he saw the old woman, he laughed. "Where is my mother?" he asked. "I can only see this dirty old beggar woman." The woman said, "I am your mother." He said, "I am not your son. You are dirty and ugly. Go away. I do not want to see your face again." "But it is true. You are my son," she cried. She fell on her knees and held out her arms to him. "Thieves stole you from me and left you in the forest. But I knew you when I saw you, and I knew the coat of gold with silver stars. So please come with me. For many years I have tried to find you. Come with me, my son. I need your love." But the starchild did not move. At last he spoke, and his voice was hard and angry. "If you are really my mother, I do not want to know you. I thought that I was the child of a star, not the child of a beggar. So go away. I do not want to see you again." "Won't you kiss me before I go?" she cried. "I suffered so much while I was looking for you." "No," said the starchild. "I will not." So the woman went away, crying into the forest. The starchild was glad and ran back to his friends. But when they saw him, they said, "Go away, ugly face. You cannot play with us." "Why did they say that to me?" thought the starchild. He went to the water and looked into it. His face was ugly now. He fell on the grass and cried. "This has happened to me because I have done wrong," he thought. "I have been unkind to my mother and sent her away. I will go and look for her. I will not rest until I find her." So he ran away into the forest. He called for his mother all day, but there was no answer. When the sun went down, he slept on the grass. The animals and birds remembered his sticks and stones, and they ran away from him. In the morning, he walked through the forest. He asked everything he met, "Have you seen my mother?" But the animals said, "You pushed sticks into our eyes. You threw stones at us." And the birds said, "You cut our wings. You stole our eggs." The Starchild cried and asked them to forgive him. Then he continued walking. On the third day he came out of the forest and into open country. He passed through villages, and the children threw stones at him. The men sent him away. The Starchild searched for 3 years. Sometimes he seemed to see his mother on the road in front of him. He called to her and ran after her, but he never reached her. People told him, "No, we have not seen her. Nobody has walked along this road." They laughed at him. One evening he came to the gates of a great city. The soldier at the gate stopped him. "What do you want here?" "I am looking for my mother," he answered. "I want to come into this city, please. Perhaps she is here." "Your mother will not be pleased when she sees you. You are uglier than the ugliest animal. Go away." Another soldier said, "Who is your mother, and why are you trying to find her?" He answered, "My mother is a beggar. I have been very unkind to her. I want her to forgive me." But they stopped him going in. He turned away, crying. Then an officer came. "Who is trying to come into this city?" he asked. "A beggar," they answered. "And he is the child of a beggar, so we are sending him away." "No," said the officer, laughing. "We will sell him as a slave. The price will be the price of a loaf of bread." A strange old man said, "I will buy him at that price." He paid the money and took the Starchild into the city. They went along many streets and came to a little door. The old man touched the door with his ring and it opened. They went down 5 steps into a garden. Then the old man put a cloth over the Starchild's eyes and pushed him into a building. When the cloth was taken away, the child was in a dark prison. The old man gave him a piece of bread and said, "Eat." And he gave him a cup of water and said, "Drink." Then the old man went out. He shut and locked the door. The old man was really a clever magician. The next day he came to the Starchild and said, "There is a forest near the south gate of the city. In it there are 3 pieces of gold. One is white gold, one is yellow gold, and the third is red gold. Today you must bring me the piece of white gold. If you do not bring it back, I will hit you. Go. This evening I will wait for you at the door of the garden." He put a cloth over the eyes of the Starchild and took him through the house and the garden and up the 5 steps to the door. Then he sent him into the street. The Starchild went out of the gate of the city and came to the forest. It was a beautiful forest, but the plants under the trees cut his skin. He could not find the piece of white gold anywhere. He looked for it all day. In the evening he turned back, crying. As the Starchild came to the end of the wood, he heard a cry. He saw a rabbit. "Help me! Free me!" it cried. "I am a slave," said the Starchild, "but I can free you." So he freed the rabbit. The rabbit answered, "You have helped me. What shall I do for you?" "I am looking for a piece of white gold. I cannot find it." "Come with me," said the rabbit, "and I will take you to it. I know where it is hidden." So the Starchild went with the rabbit and found the piece of white gold in a tree. The rabbit ran away, and the Starchild went towards the city. At the gate of the city there was a man. His face and skin were eaten away by a terrible illness. A grey cloth covered his face, and there were 2 holes in the cloth for his eyes. When he saw the Starchild, he cried out, "I have no food. Give me some money or I will die." "I only have one piece of gold," said the Starchild. "If I do not take it to my employer, he will hit me." The sick man said again sadly, "Please give me some money or I shall die." The Starchild felt sorry for him and gave him the piece of white gold. When the Starchild came to the magician's house, the magician asked, "Have you got the piece of white gold?" "No," said the Starchild, "I have not." So the magician hit him. Then he said, "Eat," but he did not give him any bread. He said, "Drink," but he gave him a cup with no water in it. The next day the magician came to the child and said, "Bring me the piece of yellow gold today. If you do not bring it, I will hit you harder than yesterday, and I will keep you as my slave." The Starchild went to the forest. All day he tried to find the piece of yellow gold. In the evening he sat down and began to cry. The little rabbit came to him. "Why are you crying?" asked the rabbit. "I am looking for a piece of yellow gold which is hidden here. If I do not find it, my employer will hit me again." "Follow me," said the rabbit, and it ran through the forest to a little stream. The piece of yellow gold was lying in the sand at the bottom of the stream. "How can I thank you?" said the Starchild. "This is the second time that you have helped me." "You helped me first," said the rabbit, and it ran away. The Starchild took the piece of yellow gold and hurried back to the city. The sick beggar saw him. He cried out, "Give me some money or I will die." The Starchild said, "I only have one piece of gold. If I do not take it to my employer, he will hit me. He will keep me as his slave." The sick man cried, and the Starchild felt sorry for him. He gave him the piece of yellow gold. When the Starchild came to the magician's house, the magician opened the door. "Have you got the piece of yellow gold?" "No," said the Starchild, "I have not." So the magician hit him and put him in the prison. The next day, the magician came to him and said, "If you bring me the piece of red gold today, you will be free. But if you do not bring it, I will kill you." The Starchild went to the forest. He looked for the piece of red gold all day. In the evening he sat down and cried. The little rabbit came to him. The rabbit said, "The piece of red gold is in that hole in the rock behind you." "How can I thank you?" said the Starchild. "This is the third time that you have helped me." "You helped me first," said the rabbit, and it ran quickly away. The Starchild looked in the hole and found the piece of red gold. He hurried back to the city. The sick man saw him coming. He stood in the middle of the road and cried out to him, "Give me the piece of red gold or I must die." The Starchild gave him the piece of red gold, saying, "You need it more than I do." But he was very sad. As the Starchild walked through the gate of the city, the soldiers greeted him. "That is a beautiful young man," they said. A crowd of people followed him, shouting, "Nobody in the world is as beautiful as this man." The Starchild thought, "They are laughing at me because I am so unhappy." He lost his way in the crowd, and suddenly he was in the great square. In that square was the king's palace. The palace gate opened. Government officers ran out to greet him. They said, "We have waited for you. You are the son of our king." The Starchild answered, "I am not a king's son. I am the ugly child of a poor beggar woman." Then an officer held up a mirror and asked, "Why do you think you are not beautiful?" The Starchild saw that his face was beautiful again, but something new shone from his eyes. It was love and kindness. The officer stood in front of him and said, "Wise men told us about this day a long time ago. We are waiting for you, for our new king. Take this crown and be our king." The Starchild said, "I cannot be your king, because I have been unkind to my mother. I must find her and ask her to forgive me. I cannot stay here." He turned away towards the city gate. Then, in the crowd, he saw the beggar woman who was his mother. At her side stood the sick man. He cried out in happiness. He ran to them and threw himself down and kissed his mother's feet. "Mother," he said, "I was proud and unkind. Now please forgive me and take me as your son." He held out his hands and touched the sick man's feet and said, "I gave you money 3 times because I was sorry for you. Ask my mother to speak to me." The Starchild's mother put her hand on his head and said, "Stand up." He stood up and looked at them. Now they were a king and queen. The queen said, "This is your father. You helped him when he was the sick man." And the king said, "This is your mother." Then they kissed him and took him into the palace. So the Starchild became king. He gave bread and clothes to the poor and was kind and good to everyone. There was happiness in the land. The Selfish Giant. When the giant went away for 7 years, the children played in his garden every afternoon on their way back from school. It was a large and lovely garden. Beautiful flowers grew in the grass, and there were 12 fruit trees. In the spring, the fruit trees were covered with red and white flowers, and later in the year, wonderful fruit grew on them. The birds sang sweetly in the trees. Sometimes the children stopped their games and listened to them. "We are so happy here," they said. Then one day the giant came back. He saw the children playing in his garden. "What are you doing here?" he shouted in a very loud voice. The children ran away. "My garden is my garden," said the giant. "No one can play in it, only me." So he built a high wall round it and put up a notice, "Keep out." He was a very selfish giant. So the children had nowhere to play. They tried to play on the road, but the road was dirty and full of hard stones, and they did not like it. After their lessons, they walked round the giant's high wall and talked about the beautiful garden inside. "We were so happy there," they said. The spring came, and there were flowers and little birds all over the country. But in the garden of the selfish giant, it was still winter. The birds did not sing in it because there were no children. The trees forgot to grow flowers. Snow covered the grass, and ice covered the trees with silver. The north wind came, and the rain. "I cannot understand why the spring is so late," said the selfish giant. He was sitting at the window of his house and looking out at his cold, white garden. "I hope there will be a change in the weather." But the spring never came, and the summer did not come. When there was golden fruit in every other garden, there was no fruit in the giant's garden. It was always winter there, with the north wind and snow and ice and rain. The giant was lying in bed one morning when he heard some beautiful music. A little bird was singing outside his window. It was the first bird song in the garden for a very long time, and it seemed to him the most beautiful music in the world. Then the north wind and the rain stopped. "I believe that spring has come at last," said the giant. He jumped out of bed and looked out. His garden was full of children. They were coming in through a hole in the wall and were climbing up into the trees. The giant saw a little child in every tree. The trees were glad to have the children back. They were covered with flowers again. The birds were flying around and singing with happiness, and flowers were looking up through the green grass. A very small boy was standing in the far corner of the garden. He could not reach up to climb his tree. He was walking round it and crying. That tree was still covered with ice and snow. "I have been very selfish," said the giant. "Now I know why the spring did not come here. I will put the little boy into the tree. Then I will pull down the wall, and my garden will be a children's playground forever." He was really sorry about his unkindness. So he went down, opened the door very quietly, and went out into the garden. But when the children saw him, they were afraid. All the children ran away except the little boy. His eyes were full of tears, and he did not see the giant. The giant came quietly behind him. He took the little boy carefully in his hand and put him up into the tree. Then the tree was suddenly covered with flowers, and the birds came and sang in it. The little boy put his arms round the giant's neck and kissed him. The other children saw that the giant was not bad and selfish now. They came running back. "It is your garden now, little children," said the giant, and he pulled down the wall. When people walked along the road to the town, they could see into the garden. They saw the giant playing with the children. "That is a beautiful garden," they said. The children played all day. In the evening they came to the giant to say goodbye to him. "But where is your little friend?" he said. "Where is the little boy that I put into the tree?" The giant loved him best because the little boy kissed him. "We do not know," answered the children. "He has gone away." "You must tell him to come tomorrow. He must come tomorrow." But the children said, "We do not know where he lives. We only met him today." The giant felt very sad. Every afternoon after school, the children came and played with the giant. But the giant's favourite little boy did not come back again. The giant was very kind to the other children, but he wanted to see his first little friend. "I would really like to see him," he thought. Years passed, and the giant became very old and weak. He could not play in the garden now, so he sat in a big chair and watched the children's games and looked at his garden. "I have many beautiful flowers," he said, "but the most beautiful flowers are the children." One morning, when he was dressing himself, he looked out of the window. It was winter, but he did not hate the winter now. The spring was only sleeping, and the flowers were only resting. He waited happily for them to come again. Suddenly he opened his eyes wide. He looked and looked again. Something wonderful was happening. In the far corner of the garden, a tree was covered with beautiful white flowers. The tree was golden, and silver fruit hung down from it, and the little boy was standing under the tree. The giant ran out into the garden, and he hurried across the grass to the child. Then his face became red and angry. "Who has hurt you?" he said. There was blood on the child's hands and on his little feet. "Who has hurt you?" cried the giant. "Tell me, and I will kill him." "No," said the child. "This pain is the pain of love." "Who are you?" asked the giant. He was afraid and went down on his knees in front of the little child. "You help me to play in your garden," said the child. "Today you will come with me to my garden in the sky." That afternoon the children came into the garden. They found the giant lying dead under the tree. He was covered with white flowers.